Okay, one more hour and we're done. What was I saying? I always look up at my phone, and I'm always like, what what was I saying? What the hell was I saying? So, because I was speaking about, I don't know where I left you guys off. I was speaking about my university, my college, like SVA, what SVA costs. So it's $165,000 for a semester. It is just fucking insane. And I'm saying this, and I have to be full disclosure. I've always considered, but I don't have an MFA, so I don't think I'd be able to do that. But I've always wanted to teach in my university eventually. When my kids are older, I want to move back to the U.S. and if I move back, I would totally consider wanting to teach for that. But now I'm like, fuck no. I don't even know if that school is going to be open in the next 10 years because it's so damn expensive. So I don't know. There's something so off, so wrong about that. $165,000 to get your illustration degree. Oof. Insane. I think we could do better than that, but just hanging out here and fucking painting and talking. I'm sorry, but I just don't get it. Like, and this is me saying something that's like, my teachers were my life, and I still owe everything in my life to them, because I would have been nothing if it wasn't for them. And I am incredibly aware of that. But, fuck, go take a workshop with them then. Don't pay $1,000 for a workshop or whatever, you have to pay. And you can have enough information that will last you for like a year from those people that are incredibly talented. But don't pay freaking $165,000. That is just insane. Oof. So whenever I kind of convince myself, like, oh, I would love to teach there because I would love to go back there and kind of give back and sort of try and in many ways just be the person that my teachers were for me. I would love to do that. I think that that's a really nice thing that you can do in life, that when you find that somebody was important to your life, you can give back, and hopefully you can have the same impact on other young people. And I've always loved that, but when I think about it, it's like, but I'd be working for a damn fucking institution that is willing to charge $165,000 for an education. Like, that's insane. So it always puts me in a really weird dilemma to just, by the way, that's a nice color. That works really well. That's why I was excited about this, having like this purple sort of color harmony within the painting. It's there. I'm not making it super evident, but it's enough of it is there that I feel it looks really, really cool. So anyways, if you're considering those things, like, fine, and if you have that money, that's totally cool. I wouldn't ever judge you for having that money. That's insane. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, if you have worked hard enough, or if your family has worked hard enough, damn, you deserve everything you have. And if you want to spend that money in your education, that's totally cool. But fuck me, it is expensive. Like, we have to acknowledge that it is like abnormally expensive. It's just out of the ordinary expensive. And almost like trying to think that a family, like a regular family, could afford anything like that is just insane. And for example, in America, so many people have said, like, well, that's why you make a fund, like a college fund, as soon as your kid is born. But why would you have to? Like, that's not right. Like, you don't, like, why would that have to happen? Why is that the only chance that you could give yourself to pay for something like this if you have, 18 years of like this this obliged savings, program? It doesn't. It just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right. Anyways, so I like that. This is going to be blue, but I'm going to make it like a blue-purple. Just because of what I said. Like, I'm really digging, and it has to be a little, fuck me. It has to be a little bit darker. It can't be that dark, but I wish it was darker. So I could paint it darker. I could do whatever I want, but, so I'm going to make it more blue, like dominant blue. But I'm going to make it purple. And that's why it's kind of cool that I've been using, what's it called? Ultramarine. Because ultramarine is a blue-purple. So I'm going to be within the colors that I wanted to, the color harmony that I wanted to get to when I thought about it initially. And I didn't really control it that well, but it kind of happened. And I'm happily going to follow that color scheme right now, sort of those keys right now, because I feel it's really cool. But I want to make it different enough from her, just her jacket right here, like that fleece jacket that she has in there. She was sick. I mean, I'm making it look like Bogota is like Alaska. But no. She was just a little sick, and we were about to leave, so she had to wear like all the layers, all her stuff, so that she wouldn't get any sicker. So that's why it probably looks like we were minus 30 degrees. Cool, that's good. There's a dark there that's going to help me a lot. How would you price something like this? How would I price it? A lot of people, there's so many, and most of them young people, or people that have been painting for a while but haven't really commercialized their work, haven't tried to sell their work. They're happy with just making it, and maybe their lives, they have jobs where they can just afford to make paintings whenever they want, or but it's the needs of people like myself that live from doing this are a little bit different. So we have to always be aware of how to monetize or how to price our work, because that's how we live. That's how we make money. So a lot of people ask me about that, and I would say, first, it depends on your market. Like, if you're trying to sell something to your aunt, let's say, or to somebody in your family who's never bought art, who has they have an abstract notion of how much, or they heard in a story that a Da Vinci painting sold for, how much was it that it sold? $500 million, something like that? I forget, but it was something like that, something insane like that. So, they have this abstract notion of art being just insanely expensive. And, but, they probably also have this idea of art that they see, in places where they buy couches and lamps and I don't know, in places in their lives that are not usually, let's say, like galleries, like traditional galleries. So they probably see something and it's worth a couple $100, and they feel, okay, that's what art is worth. So they make this separation between what you see in a museum, which is almost this abstract value, and what they see in their regular lives. So that person is the hardest one to sell, because if you say like even $1,000, they're going to go like, whoa, that's insane. That's not the amount of money I was, thinking of. But if you're trying to sell something to a person that has gone to, that probably has personal relationships with artists, and has gone to like gallery openings, they are probably much more aware of how much your work can be worth. And your work should be worth, depending on how much time in its simplest forms, depending on how much time you've put into doing it. Think of it as a job initially, like any other job. So if you worked on something for 2 months, why would you charge less than what anyone would charge for like 2 months of doing any job? That would be insane. That's really harmful, and it's really stupid if you start sort of denying yourself the right that you have to ask for the amount of work you've put into something. Now, for a lot of people, it's going to be really scary. So there's people that feel very insecure about asking for what they deserve. They almost feel ashamed to ask for what they deserve, and they end up just asking for something that sounds non-threatening, and that is many times just selling yourself short. And I would beg people to never ever do that. Never ever ever do that. I mean, I feel that the art market behaves in a very irresponsible manner when we think of the very famous people, the people that actually fuel the rest of the smaller art market. And by smaller, I mean probably all the galleries you probably walk by when you go to the whatever it is, or either Midtown or Uptown or wherever that there's a lot of galleries in your area. In a broader, bigger sense, in a more universal sense, the people that dictate how the smaller galleries work are the people that make millions of dollars. I know it sounds weird, but the smaller art market behaves exactly the same way the larger market behaves. So if it's a very healthy market and a lot of people are buying stuff that's like millions of dollars, you can be sure that there's a lot of people buying paintings that are worth a couple of thousands of dollars too. It just means it's a reflection of a healthy market of people wanting to own art, which nobody needs to own art. That's the thing with us. We make stuff that nobody needs. I mean, we can be really romantic about it, but you need food, you need gas, you need electricity, you need water. You don't need art to live. So it is very hard, and we depend on people doing really, really well so that they can spend their money on what we do. That's why when the economy is bad, then the art world suffers immediately, like instantly it suffers. So again, if just circling back to your question, if you know that the people that you want to sell your stuff to is aware of this larger market, you could probably ask for stuff that's in line with that. But as somebody, I'll tell you something. I'm going to be super honest with this. When I started painting, I mean, not literally started painting, but I had done, what had I done? Like maybe 3 shows. It was maybe just that. I was working for a gallery in Boca, in Florida, which is not what you would associate with, the strongest market or the most important market in the art world. And I was working for a gallery there, but it was at the time of the art bubble, like in the early 2000s. And, they would tell me, just, you have to paint big paintings because nobody here likes small paintings. Like, they pay for size. So, and people here, if you say something is cheap, they're going to think it's cheap. So you have to make it be expensive. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what the fuck is that? Then I was like a 20-something-year-old working, painting. And I was like, what? Is that how things, is this how it works? Is this how the art market works? What the hell? And so my paintings, and I had sold a bunch of paintings, but I had never sold very expensive paintings, or at least to me, those were very expensive paintings. And suddenly this woman who, I mean, she was super nice, and it's not her fault in a sense. I mean, it's her job, and she was just making money. And she was like, well, your paintings are going to be worth $30,000. And I was like, what? I haven't sold enough to just say, okay, that's a price that I deserve. I felt super uncomfortable, charging $30,000 for these paintings. And I was like, what? But she was like, this is just how it is. That's how the market here works. People, I have, a very specific clientele that, they have a lot of money, and may sound like money to you, but it's not a lot of money to them. And if it doesn't have prices like that, they're just going to see you like a young kid who just doesn't know what the hell, he's doing. And, I'm not willing to lose a sale for that. I was even, and I'm going to be totally honest here, which I would have, right now I would have said, fuck you. But at the time I was like, what are you talking? For my opening, because I was this scruffy, I've always been this scruffy guy. I don't give a hell, how I look. And this woman, the director, for my own opening, she was looking at me and she was like, you know what, Nick? If you don't want to show up, you don't have to. Like, people kind of will get to know you from your work. And I was like, what? Wait, what? She probably saw me like all fucked up. And I was like, what the hell? Now she's talking about how I look and because she felt like my paintings spoke about something that I wasn't reflecting with my looks or whatever the fuck that means. And I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna be here. I was like, no, hell no, I'm gonna be here. But I remember just being a kid being like, oh yeah, maybe if you and at the end I was like, fuck, what? What do you mean? I traveled all the way here? Of course I'm gonna be in my fucking opening. Like, that's insane. And I sold everything. Long story short, I sold a bunch of large paintings for a lot of that money, and it never felt right. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. It never ever felt right. Like, I never ever felt like I deserved that money. I know that people were willing to pay it, but it was fake. They were just buying this illusion of a painter that I wasn't, in a time and in a place where just paintings had to be sold like that. And a lot of painters, that's their dream, to hit it and to hit a market that's healthy, and to almost like even understand that that's not going to last for a while. So they really have to, push themselves to make as many paintings as they can so they can make as much money as they can, and then like jet, and you like disappear, and you're like, fuck this, I'm out. I made my money, good night. And a lot of people, there's tons of artists that are like, fuck, dude, you had like the perfect job. Like, that's what many people work for. That moment where you can make a ton of money, and then you can just, say, nice, it was nice, good night, thank you. But that was never my case. Like, I hate to say it, but I love this damn thing too much. So I worked with her for like a year, and never comfortable. And I said thank you, and then I left. And that was how very quickly I understood that sometimes what you deserve and what you actually get is something totally different. And it can be different in the sense where, that happened to me, where I got a ton of money undeservedly, undeservingly, or it can be in the sense that I know so many fucking incredible painters, a lot of them way better than me, and they struggle so fucking much. It's like life can be so stupidly unfair. So they are people that would rightfully deserve the amount of money that I got when I got it, and they're not getting even close to that amount of money even nowadays. And that's just how the world works, and it's really, really, really unfair. But that's just the truth, it's very painful. And trust me, like, if you guys are friends with artists, or if you guys, whenever you meet an artist, always know that that's a part of our reality, that many, many times we work so damn hard and we get nothing for it, nothing. And it breaks your heart. Whenever you get to know a lot of these people, and sometimes like their families and their stories, oh man, it's just not right. You just say, fuck me, like the world should be just good with the people that are talented and they put their life into it. But truth is they're not. Truth is life doesn't behave that way, and the world can be like really an asshole at times. But so in my life, I walked away. I'm going to be honest. I walked away with a lot of money still, and that money I sort of translated into life experiences that were super valuable to me, and at that moment in my life meant a ton. So I don't feel that, I would never say that money was dirty or wasted, or no, it was very important for that moment in my life. And it actually made a lot of painting possible for me. It actually kept me painting. I always told myself, okay, I'm not going to believe this bullshit, because I know I'm not this artist that is magically suddenly worth this amount of money. And we're not talking a lot of money. I mean, a lot of painters are worth this amount of money. I'm not saying something that is like an extravagant amount of money. I'm super aware of it. But trust me, like when I was starting out, it just didn't seem right. It just seemed like a ton of money. Nowadays, I feel if I do a large painting and somebody pays me $30,000 for it, I would feel totally fine with it. Like that I've worked super hard at trying to get to where I am, but I've earned it. Like I know that I've earned it. But at that moment, I hadn't earned anything, nothing. And like I said, you feel kind of cool and you feel like you're making it as soon as you meet somebody who's better than you and who has a shit life and struggles like incredibly, then you're like, okay, this is not right. This is so not fucking right. So to just, because I'll go on tangents for hours. So just to speak specifically about pricing, it's a very abstract thing to do, and it's something that you'll learn how to do it. The more you probably are in shows, and the more you see other people's work, and the more you have relationships with gallery directors, you will feel a lot more comfortable with your own work and how to contextualize your own work and understand how it fits within a bigger market. And you won't, maybe at the beginning you'll be shy about saying $1,000, but eventually you're never going to be, eventually you can say $10,000 and you feel fine about it. And if you sell it, you feel awesome. And if you don't, you feel like that's what I'm worth. So I'm not going to compromise this because I know that that's what I'm worth. So, eventually you're going to learn. Nobody can teach you that, unfortunately. Nobody can just give you a value and tell you, dude, that's how much you should ask for your work. No, that's kind of dumb. That doesn't exist. That's just a very broad generalization of what the market, kind of looks like. But truth is, you have to answer to your own needs and to what you think you deserve. And maybe you're off, and maybe, you need some time, and you need to be a little more humble, and you'll realize that, okay, maybe you think you're worth that, but nobody's willing to pay. Because you can say, I could tell you right now, like, okay, this small painting is $100,000. And maybe some people are like, fuck, yeah, sure, it's worth it. I mean, it's a beautiful painting. Yeah, hell yeah. I can see it being $100,000. Not really. I mean, I'm just saying something that sounds ridiculous. But you could say anything, any abstract number. And if nobody's willing to pay it, then it's not worth that. You know, you have to be also aware of it. Like, you can tell yourself and you can tell people, like, oh, my paintings are worth, $1 million. Okay, but have you sold any? Not really. Oh, okay, so that doesn't make sense. No, your value also depends on your on the amount of paintings you've sold. So, the more paintings you sell, probably the larger prices you can fetch, and that's just how it works. Because if you think about it, there's no other objective way to judge how much a painting is worth. You can't just say, well, I spent a lot of money on my materials. Bullshit. Like, this painting costs about $100, maybe, not even. Like, maybe $50 to make. I'm painting it on this, cheap, not cheap, but it's a piece of paper. And with paints that are not incredibly expensive, some of them are, some of them are not. And I'm painting it with brushes. Some of them are expensive, some of them are not. So, if I told you, well, this is probably, in terms of materials, it's worth $100, maybe, or $200, I'd be like, yeah, that's what it's worth, but that's not the value of your painting. That's obviously just, the stuff that it, how much the stuff that you made it with cost. That's all it is. So you can't put that into your equation. That's usually, that'll usually lead you nowhere. So what you have to do is just think of you as somebody who devotes your time and your efforts and your energy to something that took you, I don't know, maybe 2 months to paint, maybe 6 months. So how much are 6 months worth of your of your time and your devoted work? That's what you have to think about. And, it could be as simple as saying, I think if I'd be working, I would ask for, I don't know, $50,000 a year. Or maybe you can say $100,000 a year. So you kind of can work things out that way. But that's a very sort of, I don't know, that's also a very sort of dry way of looking at how to price something. I don't know. You have to be aware of many, many things. I would say always go for visit galleries that you think your work would belong to, would fit nicely in. Maybe galleries you want to be in, and see how much painters that would. It doesn't matter if you feel that you're as good as somebody else. Like, you could say, fuck that, I'm as good as Jeremy Lipking, and I want to fetch his prices. And no, I mean, but Jeremy has sold for years consistently, and he's an incredibly talented painter, so don't think that you just came in and you deserve something that you haven't earned. You have to work for it. You have to deserve it. You have to earn it. So even if you feel you're as good as somebody or better than somebody, don't compare yourself. Don't be like, look at that. This guy does bullshit paintings while this woman does kick-ass paintings, and fuck, his prices are crazy and she's so cheap. Don't do that. Don't compare, because you have no idea, how you're comparing those two artists. Just realize that, you have to start somewhere. You have to be consistent. Your market has to build through sales, unfortunately. So I would say if you're starting out, it's better to sell a lot of the things you do than just one very expensive painting. It's a lot better to just say, wow, I sold out my show. And people will always remember that instead of saying, like, Well, your fucking paintings were like $50 each, so fuck yeah, you were going to sell out your show. No, and they don't have to be $50. I'm just saying, like, whatever. But it's probably a better idea to just sell something out than to sell everything than to just think that you deserve $15,000 for a small painting and maybe somebody paid it to you, but then, years can go by and you're like, fuck, I thought that because that one woman paid for this, then I was going to be able to sell, my paintings consistently for that, and maybe it doesn't happen, and you're left with just being totally surprised with yourself, and you had a very distorted view of what your market actually looked like. So that was a long answer. But I guess artists usually don't speak about those things. Or they speak about it in ways that are so not... It's like, well, my first show at the Tate, and it's like, okay, that's, what do I, how am I going to relate to you having a fucking show at the Tate? I mean, that's not going to happen, So sometimes those experiences are so non-relatable that they're useless to us. Usually, just grab like a mid-career artist that has worked in galleries for years, and those are the people, that they're not wealthy, but they've kept painting, they've kept at it, they've worked their asses off. Those are the people that rightfully deserve to be heard, because those are the people that can actually teach you about that market, not the ones that are incredibly successful, because only extraordinary people are very, very successful. But for most of us, we have to work our asses off, and we have to be super, we have to use our intellect, and we have to be inventive about how to make money, and we have to try and have really cool ideas and how to break even and how to do other jobs. I mean, hopefully all of them art jobs, art related, but that will balance our life a little bit. So always listen to those people that are fucking, hard workers before you listen to the people that are just insanely talented. Do you have prints available? Not really. I've always felt my work that was a hard pivot. Do you have prints available? I don't. I've always thought my work doesn't lend itself to feel like a nice print. I don't know why. I know I'm being dumb about this, but I've always felt like my this guy I studied with, he was fucking insanely talented, like Esau Andrews. I'm sure some of you guys know Esau's work. Esau makes fucking incredible prints. James, who I studied with, James Jean makes fucking incredible prints. I make paintings. I like my paintings. I think that if I was thinking of how to make a print, I mean, I can make a print. You can make a print of any fucking painting you make. So there's no there's no mystery about making a print. But I just think that some works just lend themselves really nicely to having like a really nice giclée made of them than others. And I feel I'm one of those people that probably my paintings, or the reproduction of my paintings, are probably better suited for editorial projects, or are better when seen from life, when you can see them directly, than when you can just see a print. There's other works that, they work beautifully as prints. They work perfectly as prints, actually. So, debería aceptar trueques. Sí, pero yo he cambiado con mucha gente. Yo he cambiado con resto de gente, Leandro. Entonces, si algún día me quiere cambiar, me dice y cambiamos algo. No pasa nada. So, I've been talking a lot. Understandable, I'm just poor. Did you put all these videos on YouTube? No, I haven't. And trust me, my channel is going to exist. I'm just finishing up school, because I teach at a university. But also, I just wanted to let you guys know, it was a super hard decision for me, because I've been teaching there for, it's going to be 12 years next semester, and I'm going to stop, because I want to get back to painting full-time. And if I paint full-time, I think that I can do my YouTube channel with more dedication and just more commitment, and I can totally kind of, fight this fight that I've been talking about for so long to go up against, again, like colleges like my school that I hold very dearly, but that if I sit back and I really take a look at what's going on, I realize that, is charging an insane amount of money for education. So I realized that I can't be part of the school where I was working, which is a really big university, if fundamentally I am opposed to people having to pay so much money to get like an education. So, and I don't want to overextend myself, and I don't want to be pretentious in any way about this, because I know the reach that I can have and how limited that reach can be. So I'm not saying I can make up for those things. I alone can make up for those things. No, I don't think so. But I think a community can start making up for those injustices that are not regulated in education, that are really not regulated at all in education. I'm not going to teach anymore. I'm going to keep teaching. No, see, that wasn't the right wording for that. I am going to always teach. I'm going to always teach. But I don't see how I can be opposed to something and then that very same thing be my boss. That stopped kind of making sense to me. So hopefully, I can do something good with that. Hopefully. But I really like your live videos. Please continue to paint live. Yeah. No, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do on YouTube. Like, I planned a course, a painting course, and I'm probably also going to do a drawing course that you're going to have access to, for free. And I'm going to kind of teach you what I usually teach people. And you can do exercises, and you can see me kind of execute those very same exercises that I'm trying to teach. And it'll show you how I go about teaching paint. So that's the whole point, to try and... should I make this dark? I'm struggling to see if I should make that dark. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud. But the whole point is just to make it accessible to people. And maybe, eventually I'll do like, what people are doing, to have a patron, so that if people want more direct access to what I teach and do, then we can have something like that. But essentially, the stuff that I'm going to teach is going to be there up for everyone to enjoy and use as they see fit. And I feel that's going to at least attempt to balance things out. I mean, we go up against, Herculean institutions, so it's not easy to think that we can make a difference. But maybe it starts somewhere. So I want to start, and I know maybe this doesn't mean much to you guys, the fact that I'm resigning after 12 years, but for me it made a huge, it was huge for me. It was really big for me, because I really, really deeply care about my students, the students that I have in in school, the relationships that I've generated with my students are very rich to me. They make up a very, very important part of my life. So it's not easy leaving that behind. But I'm also aware that I am gaining the possibility to start newer relationships with people all over the world, and that is super attractive to me, and that feels excellent also. So we're all looking forward to your teaching courses in painting. Awesome. Excellent. How do we find about? You'll find it. Trust me, you'll find about it. The same way. The editorial project that I have is going to hit. It's going to be open soon. Trust me, I'll be very, very. I'll be very diligent about sharing that information with you guys, because I think it's all tied. Like the place where I want all these exercises that I've done in the past year maybe. I want them to be in a collection, in a book that can portray them really, really nicely and faithfully. That's also something that's super important to me. Like I said, I want to promote the use of a space where you're not just constantly thinking about making art. I want to promote a space or a time or anything that just pushes you to make because there is a need to make, that you're answering to a larger necessity, a broader, hopefully more primal need to just do. And for that to happen, you really have to have a place for that, where you feel comfortable enough, where you can do these things. For me, it's these tiny little pieces of paper and the chance that I can get to share with you guys here in a couple of hours in a live chat. To me, that's the space that I've found. So I want to have a small book that speaks about those things, because I want to share also thoughts and my knowledge of paint, of what I'm thinking about while I'm doing these things, and things that I feel are relevant in my painting and that speak about fundamentals of painting. So I think that project is also kind of tied with the bigger one that I want, that has to do with the more academic one. So hopefully I can count with you guys to be part of it. I mean, I solely depend on you guys, but I'm also aware that these are things that I do not because I just need people to finance them. These are things that I would do and I would pursue if I was on my own, and because I'm answering to some, the same thing that is telling me, wow, this is a tough decision to just say goodbye to the students that I care so deeply about. That same decision is telling me, these are things that are important to you that you should do regardless. I was talking to my directors who are incredible in school, and they were like, well, what have you lined up? What are you going to do? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know, but that's maybe why I feel this is right, because I have nothing there. I know it sounds like super stupid, and at some level I'm really, really scared, and not because of me, but because I have 2 kids that I have to answer to. But I also trust myself, and I know that I'm going to work so freaking hard, because I have done in my whole life. This is something that I truly love and care about, so I'm going to, if it depends on me working hard, I trust myself and I know that I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this to the best of my ability just because I care so much about it. So I am slightly horrified, but I'm also incredibly excited about what my life can become if I'm if I'm more honest to the things I believe right now, and if I just change my life to obey those things and to be active about my stance on education. So yeah, so that's, hopefully that'll work out. You're brave and talented, it'll work. I hope so. I really hope so. If not, it's on you guys. If not, fuck you all. It's your fault. I'll send you photographs of my kids, like, with no clothes and like, okay, that sounded creepy. But, like, you know, not going to school and, like, learning from math from, like, the internet, and fuck that. I'll show you. I'll make you guys feel bad about it. So it's on you. My kids' future depends on you. So fucking, I don't know. You have to step up. Oh, fuck. I have to, I know that I'm probably going to have to do this video because after this I have to go to class. And I haven't even taken a shower yet, if we're being honest here. So what I know, and I know that I can't, even if I wanted to, if I would start working here, I would rush, and I don't want to do that. So I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep, because I've never done that. I've never worked again on something that I have worked on, at least not with you guys. I haven't showed that to you guys. So I think I'm going to leave it here, and then I'm going to go back and finish this. But let me do the rim of her coat, and I think we'll be done because I honestly kind of have to start to get ready. So we'll do that. Again, think about my kids. Fucking beautiful, homeless kids because of you guys. So, beautiful and homeless. That's what my page is going to be called, beautifulandhomeless.org. And it's just, you know, photos of my kids, and yeah, I'm going to be nowhere in there, you know. It's just my kids, so you can feel like shit, and just a nice banner that says, "You did this. You did this." So, yeah, no pressure. No pressure. To support you, I think I'm going to get another job. No, you don't. I would tell you don't. Don't ever do that. You don't have to. If you have to go out of your way, if it's really hard for you, don't. You know, I will still do this, you know, regardless of what happens. So don't. I'm kidding about my kids. Although it's on you. It's fucking kids. I mean, they're nice and kind of healthy now. Skin and bones. You're going to see skin and bones. Damn people. Did that to my kids. I'm kidding. If you're new, I'm kidding, by the way. I don't want people to go like, what the hell? Who is this guy? Pimping out his kids like porno misery? What the hell is going on? Yeah, don't worry. I'm just kidding. I'm Colombian. We speak sarcasm and bullshit. Those are our two languages. So please don't judge me and get used to it. Thank you very much for your live show. No. Thank you for hanging out. I'm always, in my mind, I always count with you people, but I'm always like, well, if nobody shows up, I'm still going to paint. It's going to sound ridiculous if I talk to myself, but I'm still going to paint. So, but it's always awesome when I can see that there's like 100 people listening right now. So it's always cool. It's always cool. And I know that I'm always aware that, like, I can't ask people, it's like, dude, I have to work or I have to pick up my kids from school or whatever. So I'm always super grateful if people can find time in their lives to just hang out and listen. So I know how strange and demanding that is in a way. So I'm very, very grateful, always. Wow, I returned to you translation after a few hours, and look at this beauty. Bravo. Oh, thank you. It's okay. I still want to keep going because I'm not happy with the face. But I don't think I can keep going today. I'm so sorry. So I know I'm going to get back to it. And whenever I get back to it, I'll promise that we'll do a live one so that she looks like a sad, Russian immigrant girl. Oh my God. I mean, no, Russians, I love you, so don't take that the wrong way, please. But she just looks so sad. She's like just this kid, this homeless kid, like a post-war, just kid that has to sort of reshape her life. Basically my daughter. Basically what you guys are going to do if you don't support me. So this is her future. And she got all this stuff from a thrift shop. All this stuff, Salvation Army. We were just there. We had been sleeping there for a couple of days, and they finally gave us some soup. I told them, don't give me soup, give it to her. She needs it more. I've been hungry before. I can take it. But not my kids. Not them. By the way, I'm Colombian, so I can make jokes on poverty, and so don't judge me on that. So I am the whitest Colombian you'll ever meet, but I'm still Colombian, so you can't take that away from me. So doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I look like. I'm still from Colombia, so. Still a third world country, and still the whole world makes fun of us, so I've earned it. What time are you going to paint again? Not tomorrow, probably Monday. Probably on Monday, because I don't think I can do it anytime. I'm pretty sure I can't do, well, maybe. I mean, I'm going to be exhausted, but maybe I can do it tonight. Around 10 o'clock, like Eastern. I always put that weird time zone thing, but it's the most universal way of understanding when I'm going to paint. Yeah, no, you know what? Maybe I can do that. I'm going to do that. So we'll finish this tonight. Promise. Totally, I'll totally finish this up tonight. If you guys want to hang out, that's awesome. If not, it'll be there, and you can. I mean, it's probably not going to change a ton when you see it, but it's probably going to be further developed. So I'm going to finish these last couple of strokes, and we're done. Cool. Awesome. So I think it's cool. 10 o'clock, which time zone? Like 9, maybe 9:30. What is it, GMT 5? GMT 5, so it's 9:30 Colombia. Will the paint dry tomorrow, though? If it probably, a lot of it will dry by tomorrow, a lot, because that white, that Michael Harding white, will really rush the drying. That's why he was so hesitant about making it, because it really pushes the drying times. So that's my baby. That's my girl. Look at her. So beautiful. So we're going to finish this up tonight. Awesome. I'll see you guys later. Thank you all for hanging out. Muchas gracias a los que me acompañaron, como siempre, muy queridos. Voy a terminar esta noche. Voy a hacerle cositas a la carita esta noche. Muy poco, yo creo, porque tampoco me la quiero como tirar, pero muchas gracias a los que acompañaron ahí un ratico, y me voy a bañar porque apesto y tengo que irme a clase ahora. Bueno, gracias. Entonces, chao, bye, later. I'll show you guys the palette. Look, that's how I paint. Holy shit, that's terrible. GMT 5. Is it 5 or minus 5? Something like that. GMT 5. The same time I put in that story. So that's the palette. Those are the brushes that I used. And I'll see you guys tonight. Thank you. Maybe see the reference. Yes, sure. I always forget. I always tell you guys, like, so that's her, but she's looking down. And so I use that face with that. And then I get that. So it's pretty cool. It's way cleaner than mine. I know. That's clean for me too. I scraped it before. This is, where do I have my scraper? Somewhere in there. But yeah, I had to, I'm not going to show myself. I'm like dirty. I'm like fucking, I put some clothes on because I didn't want to, like, if the camera maybe shows my legs, stuff gets overexposed. ¿Por qué tienes guantes? Porque quería y estuve un tiempo y tengo una bolsa de boxeo. Me encanta, pero me jodí una muñeca y todavía me duele mi muñeca y todavía me duele mi codo. Como por pintar, tengo como epicondilitis y hace que me duela muchísimo la muñeca. Por ejemplo, ahorita acabé y estoy que no puedo el dolor en la muñeca y en la mano y en el codo. O sea, yo ya estoy vuelto popó. Pero no, entonces me tocó parar. Entonces ahora tengo barriga y ya, gracias. Bueno, chao. Chao, nos vemos esta noche. Los que quieran, nos vemos esta noche y acabo esto. Bueno, chao, gracias. Gracias.